Last night before, 24 robins at my door. I got up, let 'em in, hit 'em in the head with a bowling pin. Well, hey, it's a pleasure to be here. The weather looks dreary, but at least it's not cold. I mean, it's cool and it's cold, but it's not so cold that it's got icicles hanging every place and you can move around and maneuver and all of those good things, and that's good. But it's a pleasure to be here, and I thank you all for tuning in and viewing as well as listening. I've had a very engaging day, and I hope that your day has been as productive as I think mine has. But I've been doing things since early this morning. I remember one of the blues songs when I was a kid says, early in the morning and I can't get right. I had a little date with my baby last night. It's early in the morning and I ain't got nothing but the blues. This was an old Louis Jordan. I went to Jenny Rue's to get something to eat. The waitress looked at me and said, Pops, you sure look beat. It's early in the morning. Well, it's late in the afternoon. And we've got our first caller, so I'm going to go right to the caller, and I'll be right back. Caller, are you there? Yes, caller, are you there? Maybe our caller left, but I know one thing. If he did, he'll call back.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Good evening, Dr. Davis, U.S. Representative of the 7th District. You notice how I always address you as Dr. Davis.
Thank you so much.
I am disappointed in terms of how Dr. King's day was remembered. And I keep thinking about what's going to happen when men like you, Dr. Davis, and Reverend King passed away. And when you look in terms of how he is remembered, when I was in school, it was required reading Dr. King's autobiography. And when you look at children these days, they don't know that Dr. King graduated from high school at the age of 15. They don't know he got his Ph.D. when he was 26. And also, they don't know that he received the Nobel Peace Prize. And he was also an educator. And also, he was quite an impressive speaker. And you ask teens about that, they don't know. They think all he did was gave some speeches and some marches, and we got our rights. And I'm disgusted. They how do you put it? They make him like a dreamer. And the man was a martyr. Now, if I'm lying about anything, stop me dead in my track. When I look at businesses these days, I remember when McDonald's would put up these signs in the windows, and big retail stores had the name Dr. King. Now it's MLK. And I am disgusted about them. We look at the media. I'm going to wrap it up real quick. We look at the media. There were stations that put on that documentary every year. And then they had that movie. I can't think of that actor where Cicely Tyson was in. They had that movie. They don't even put that stuff on today at all. Now he's remembered as the dreamer. And one of his most powerful speeches he had was, I have been to the mountaintop. And you don't hear that man practically preach his own film. I want to shut up and listen to you make remarks about it.
Well, thank you so very much, and I share your thoughts because I believe whatever it is that you want, you got to try and work towards making it happen. And there are individuals who believe that things don't happen fast enough. But if you really think about it, it has taken the world from the beginning of when it started until now to become what it is. And so the most I think we can hope is to keep working towards helping the world in which we live become the world that we would hope for it to be. And in our country, not everybody wants the same thing. I'd love to live in a country where nobody was hungry, where everybody had the food that they needed. Everyone had a warm and decent house in which to live, which reminds me that tomorrow is our energy assistance fair, and we're going to have it at the Skinner Elementary School, 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, or until the money runs out, 1200 West Adams Street. If you've been having problems with your light and gas, or you can't pay the bill, or your gas might be off, come to the Skinner Elementary School. Cedar will be there. People's Gas will be there. Commonwealth Edison will be there. And we've got people who will be able to help you. So if you're having a problem, please come to the Skinner Elementary School on tomorrow and see if you can't get some help. But I think you are absolutely correct, and as much as things may not be exactly what we wanted them to be, I had a wonderful time during the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday weekend because there were so many activities in which I participated. I didn't do it. It kind of reminds me of my father when he used to pray. And oftentimes he'd say, "We have gathered out at the house of worship. No shape, form, or fashion, or outside show unto this unfriendly world. But we are here of our own accord to give adoration, thanks, and praise to thy holy name." Which means that you're not doing it for somebody else. You're not doing it for somebody else to be thrilled and delighted, but you're really doing it because that's what you want to do. And so I appreciate your analysis relative to the life, the legacy, and the inspiration that has been provided to all of us by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we'll go right to the phone and get our next caller. Caller,
How
are
you
you
doing,
there?
Connie Davis?
Yes.
Yeah, it's me, James. Okay, Connie Davis. How long the people gonna go on? At the movie what Joe was talking about called Founder, how long the impeachment going be? How long it's gonna be? Oh, Donald Trump.
Well, unfortunately, it probably isn't going to be as long as it would need to be. And that is as long as it would need to be to get as much of the information conveyed, to have witnesses come and testify and give their understanding of what was taking place. So things that people are in charge of, they make the ultimate decisions about the process. Of course, like James, you often say that it's all in God's hand.
God's hand.
And
You know, they got
ultimately, the outcome will be determined. So I just hope that we have a fair assessment of what has happened and that the Senate will make a decision based upon truth.
Cause like I said, God's on y'all side, and Sean Hannity don't like that.
Well, I certainly can't argue with you on that, and we just hope that the end will come out all right. And hopefully our country will be in better shape when it's over than it is right now and while it's going on.
And the movie called Sandra, the one Joe was talking about with Sister Tyson in.
I tell you, you guys just know everything, don't you?
Okay, Connie, y'all go ahead. God bless y'all.
Thank you so very much, and it's so good, how good and how pleasant it is to listen to all of this knowledge. You see, knowledge is power. Knowledge enlightens one. Knowledge gives you reason to be. And so I thank our viewers and our callers for sharing not only their thoughts and ideas, but sharing their knowledge with us. No, things aren't going to always be exactly the way that we want them to be. You know, I was talking to a young lady the other day about having a goal. And the realization is that if you're able to reach your goal quickly, oftentimes it might mean that your goal was not for reaching enough. And that maybe you ought to come back and reassess your goal. You know, there's a great saying that the president of Morehouse used to use a lot. And he'd often say that life is but a minute, just 60 seconds in it, forced upon us. We didn't seek it and we didn't choose it. We couldn't refuse it. We suffer if we abuse it. Dr. Mays would say, just a tiny minute, but eternity is in it. And so if you put your dreams on hopes eternal, yeah, Dr. King did some dreaming, but he also did much more than just dream. And Dr. King wasn't the first guy that started talking about dreams. Langston Hughes had a lot of stuff to say about dream. Hold fast to your dreams, for if dreams die, life becomes as a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to your dreams and don't let go, for if you let go, life becomes as a barren field covered with snow. I'm going to go to a Walgreens event where they are honoring a program for 10 years dealing with education and school children. And I think I'm going to suggest to them that they should just hold fast to their dreams and don't let go. That if they can dream about what they want not just the world to be, but what they want the world to be for them. You know, one of my favorite songs, and of course one of Dr. King's favorite songs, was If I Can Help Somebody as I Pass Along, if I can cheer somebody with a word, a song, if I can steer somebody right who might be traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. I will have been effective. I will have made a difference. So if we can live in such a way that we spread what the Master taught, if we can spread love, I think of all the violence that we've experienced in the last few weeks. Individuals on Kilpatrick, individuals on Maypole, individuals down the street from St. Sabina's Church, individuals all throughout Chicagoland who were shot, and in one instance, people shot in a barbershop where there were little children. And so if we could change our thinking and put out messages that the Master taught. That's what Dr. King tried to teach us. Dr. King was comprehensive. He had messages that related to race, to ideological differences, that related to black and white, green, polka dot, purple, and yellow. And we'll go right to the phone and see what your thoughts are. Caller, are you there?
Dr. Davis, I had to bring up this one other comment about the so-called president. And like I said, last Monday was Dr. King's day. Our so-called president, when he went to the monument uh, um, where Dr. King's monument is, the man only spent 1 minute. I'm not kidding. Look in the media, 1 minute. But yet, he could spend a lot of time tweeting, but he could only, there's enough time to step your foot out of the car, look at the monument, and step back in, and nobody said nothing about that at all. And just, that's what I mean, one of the disrespect in terms of his day. He's, like I said, that was very, very disrespectful, and people don't bring it up. It's just like, it's okay. That's all I want to say. Bye.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Of course, we've got the State of the Union address coming up. And I must tell you that I am, working on myself as to whether or not I'm going to attend the State of the Union address. I have the highest regard and the highest respect for the office of President of the United States of America. Even though America has not been everything that I would want it to be, even though America has not treated all of its people the way that people, I still respect my country. And I respect the office of the presidency. As of right now, I am not totally certain whether or not I will be going. And so I'm working on that with myself and deciding which decision will I make? Will I go? Or am I going to be so enamored with how the president has treated the office that I may decide whatever it is that he's got to say relative to the state of our nation? I know that I'm going to disagree with a lot of it, and I will probably agree with some of it. You often notice that when the speeching is going on, sometimes you get a lot of applause, sometimes you get a little bit, sometimes you get tepid. But I refuse to give up on America. I refuse to believe that America will not live out the true meaning of its being. That all men can be and are in fact endowed by our Creator, and with certain inalienable rights. Those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Although we know that when they wrote those words, they were not nearly as comprehensive as we've been taught to believe that they were. And even with those shortcomings, we still have to keep believing and working and trying to make America the America that has never been and yet must be. And so I believe in being optimistic. I believe in being hopeful, that is filled with hope, full of hope that we're going to get there. And Dr. King, in some of his different speeches, said a lot of different things. In one, he said, I may not get there. I may not be there with you. But I do believe that we're going to get to the promised land. Yeah, I know that I may be someplace else. And so we're always seeking and looking for leadership. I think of the children of Israel. Caller, go right ahead. Yes,
Uh,
caller, are you there?
yes, Congressman. This is a great day to be alive on God's green earth. But listen, one thing I must say to you, you do have to admit we never have a president like this man in office right now. So, far as I'm concerned, he, we don't need no more. One thing for sure, don't put another man in office like that. So that's all I got to say. Let me get out there so I can hear your response. And thanks for taking the call.
Well, I must agree, and I have no other approach. I have to agree that he is indeed one of a kind. I've never read, I've never experienced, I've never heard about a person holding the highest office of the land. Now, there have been some presidents that I agree with, much of what I heard from them, but there have been some presidents that I disagree with much of what I've read about them, what I've heard from them, but I can't think of a single one that I've disagreed with as much as I have disagreed with the current president. But I've decided also I'm not going to let the president steal my joy. I'm not going to let the president take away the fervor of what I hope for America, or what I hope that America will become. And so I refuse to let the president jaundice my thinking about the possibilities of what this country can be. I am so thankful that the antics of the president the last few weeks did not take us into open warfare with any other countries. I would hope that the president has not elevated terroristic thinking on the part of some of our adversaries and enemies. And I hope that we can pursue peaceful coexistence and that we will pursue peaceful coexistence. Think of the words of one of my songs that I like. When peace like a river attendeth my way. No matter what else goes on, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. So if you can make it well with your soul and keep trying to help make the world a better place in which to live, then I think you'll be satisfied and know that you've done your part. And you won't be worrying about what others have or not done. You will know that you've done the best that you could. So when you give the best of your service, telling the world that the Savior has come, be not dismayed when men don't believe you. He'll understand and say, well done. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week.